What is up, everybody? We are coming in live for Build with the CEO this week. Trevor is out this week, so I'm Kane. I am taking over for everybody. We're just going to make sure these live broadcasts get populated here real quick, and then we will get started. If you are here, join. Make sure you drop some, questions in the chat. We'll be trying to monitor those as best as we can throughout the day. So please try to, add in questions as we go over different topics. Please let me know what questions you have because this is a super important topic. Remember, this month we're talking all about attraction and attention. How do you actually get eyeballs on your business? A huge, huge deal. And then how do you actually make those people turn into customers? Because just getting attention is one thing, but actually turning them into number one, customers, and number two, eventually raving fans is a much, much bigger deal. And so that's what we're going over today is we're going to kind of cover a little bit more the overview we've talked so far this month about attention, the basics, and then attraction, and then go really, really deep on what I like to call micro commitments. These are, these small ways to get new people joining, to get new people interested in your stuff without taking a huge, huge leap. So before we get started, again, if you have any questions along the way, drop them in the chat. Should be on Riverside, hopefully on YouTube and within our Facebook group as well. Sometimes the streaming doesn't work perfectly there. So if you don't see it in there, we'll make sure to drop the recording in there as soon as we can. All right, let's talk about, let me just pull up my window here. Perfect. Let's talk a little bit about, kind of we went over this originally, the bow tie effect, right? Within our businesses, we have two sides of every single business in the customer journey. We have the acquisition side, which is, the sales, the marketing, making sure we get the attention we want, making sure we attract the right people. Then we have the retention side. This is our servicing side. This is actually coaching the people. This is getting them to where they need to be in order to make sure they get the results they want. What we see a lot of times is coaches focus on one side or the other. They're huge into marketing. That's all they're doing. And that's all they're focused on is new leads, new leads, new leads. And they're not actually being a good coach in the back end. Or we have people who are just masters of their craft, not their marketing. And so they're a really, really good coach. They put all their effort into this like retention side of really making sure that people are getting a great experience. But then they're terrible at marketing and they wonder why all these clients are joining these inferior coaches. And so this balance is huge as a coach. Figuring out a way to balance the acquisition side and the retention side. And then in this middle, having it accessible, right? Making it super easy to do business with you. How can you eliminate friction? So like that's this huge customer journey that we're going to be talking about a lot throughout the Coach Calix experience. And really this month, we are focused on this left side of the bow tie, this acquisition side. Now, week one, we went deep into like branding, right? The very first thing you need to do is you need to come up with your three-ring prospect. You need to know, make sure who are you actually talking to. And remember, this goes by geographics, demographics, and psychographics. Where do they live? What type of person are they? And then what's their mindset? What's their status like? What are they actually looking for? And as soon as you narrow down into those three things, that is your ideal client, right? That is the person that you really want to be going after. And that is what we call your three-ring prospect. After that, you need to come up with your 5 Ps. And those 5 Ps are: what problem do you solve? What is your product? What's your promise? What is the proof if you've done this before? And then what's the process somebody would go through? When you are able to get those 5 Ps laid out and be able to make sure everybody understands exactly what that is for your business, that's where people start paying attention. The right people start paying attention. And you're probably going to push the wrong people away, which is just as beneficial. The last thing you need to do in that section is come up with your 3 what statements. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? And what are your flaws? Remember, we're humans, right? We have flaws. And people who say they're perfect, people tend to repel away from them. They kind of see, you're just salesy, you're just being markety. If you can actually showcase your flaws, it's a way to humanize you as a business. And it's a way to attract, again, the right people who might resonate with that with you. So that was kind of week one. Week two, we actually skipped way ahead here up to offers, core offers. And now there's a reason why. You might think, hey, I should work through this, this entire bow, this entire funnel in a line, right? I should go, I want to start with my brand, and then I want to go to gifts, and then I want to go to micro commitments and then offers. You actually don't. And there's a very, very clear reason why we did this. First, you need to know your market. You need to know who you're talking to. That's number one, no matter what. Then the next thing you do is, what are you actually selling? Like, you need to nail down your core offer. Without that, we can't do the other stuff very well. And so that's why we always start on the far left and we jump straight to core offers. And Trevor talked about those quite a bit last week, but really making sure you dial in your core offers and have those very, very clear. So anybody who ever wants to buy from you, who wants to work with you, you have exactly what they can work with you on. Then we kind of work our way back towards the beginning again. So we went brand first, core offers second. We're working our way back right now. And this one is micro commitments. So what is a micro commitment? A micro commitment is a small way for somebody to join or somebody to raise their hand and say, I am interested in something that you offer, without having to make a huge, huge investment. So the way we look at this is, when somebody like sees your content, when somebody first recognizes you, they become a prospect, right? So we're kind of looking over here. They're going to become a prospect. As soon as they actually do something with you, when they raise their hand, when they give you a piece of information, when they give you their time, their money, something like that, they then become a lead. And when they finally join your program or kind of sign up, that's when they become a customer or a client. So that's kind of the path that we're leading people through. And today we're talking about all the people who become leads, who raise their hand. Now, as you can see within this micro commitment, kind of this step here in the funnel, there's three main ways that people can raise their hands and make a micro commitment to you as a business. Number one is they can give you their information. And that's the easiest way and probably the most common way we see a lot. This means they're going to give you their name, their email, their phone number, maybe their address. Anytime you see like a lead magnet, right? Hey, enter your email here and you're going to download our free PDF. That is a micro commitment. There's a bunch of different ways to do this, but name, email, phone number, most common way. So anybody who's going to give up their information is going to get something of value in return. Easy micro commitment. We've probably all seen that all over the place. It doesn't always just have to be information, though. There's more things that they can do. The second one is their time. Somebody could be, hey, you know what? If I download a lead magnet, I'm going to read it sometime later. But right now, I want to join a webinar. I want to join a call. I want to join some type of seminar or workshop to be able to learn more about you, because I think there's going to be value there. They are giving up their time in order to sit down and learn from you live. This is a bigger form of a commitment than just giving up their name and email. Giving up name, email, phone number, like, that's easy. Time is going to be more of a commitment, which means it needs to be more valuable than just a regular PDF download. And you'll see, as we move down the line here, they're going to become more and more valuable or a bigger thing. So first off, we have information. Second off, we have time. The third one is some sort of money. So micro commitments can have monetary value. It's not just free things all the time. It's just never going to be as big as your core offer. So an example of this is actually a lot of our front end offers. A lot of our trials that we do, paid trials we do, are going to be paid micro commitments. They're not our core offer. It's not our main coaching thing that we do. It's a way to help get people in the door, and it's a way to help get them used to how it would be to be coached by us. Another example could be a paid webinar or a paid workshop. That's a simple way to do both time and money inside a micro commitment. And when we're looking at this type of thing, when we're looking at all of our micro commitments, what we really want to do is we really want to have a base foundation of what works. What I see coaches making a huge mistake of is switching it up all the time. Hey, okay, this month I need a new lead magnet. Next month I need another new lead magnet. You don't need new lead magnets all the time. What you should be doing is get something up right away that works. Test it, figure out, okay, what resonates, what offer does my audience want? Because You might have an idea, but they're going to tell you with their time, with their money, with their attention. So the more you can have a couple different offers to test right away and then find the winner, that's what we really want to do. And here's the key: we're not trying to knock this out of the park, right? We're not trying to go from like a video on Instagram to somebody buying my coaching. That's a very big leap for people. And what we want to always do, no matter what, if it's this coaching, marketing, whatever it is, we want to work in layers, not leaps. So as soon as we try to go from 0 to 100, it's just too big of a jump and you're going to lose too many people. But if you can go from 0 to 10, a nice little layer, and they'll come up and meet you, and then go up a little bit more, and they'll come up and meet you. It's much easier to get them as that client long term. And so we always want to make sure we're not trying to knock things out of the park. We're just trying to get to first base. We're just trying to get in the door with these customers to be able to develop a deeper relationship and be able to talk to them more. That's the other thing. As soon as we get their information, we capture their time, we're going to build a relationship with them quicker, and we're going to be able to market to them more. We're going to be able to communicate with them more on our own audiences, right? We're not renting audiences anymore. We have it. We captured their information. We have it. We can communicate with them how we want, generally over email, text, something like that, but off of a social platform. So this is a really key way to help getting away from those social algorithms that can be challenging, and make sure we move people from a rented audience, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, anything that, could possibly change at any moment that we don't have control over, to an owned audience, our email list, our CRM. This is why Supercoach CRM is so valuable, in the fact that we can take people who have raised their hand, make them our own audience, and then be able to market to them and communicate them how we want on our terms, not a social platform's terms. So that's kind of the main keys about micro commitments. When we're looking at different types of micro commitments, obviously lead magnets, PDFs, anything like that is great. The other versions of these that work really well, that we almost want to have running all the time, some sort of waiting list, right? Waiting lists are awesome. You don't have to have the challenge or the product fully built out. Have people raise their hand and have a waiting list. We did this for our Supercoach CRM, launched last month, and it worked great, because this way we know ahead of time, here's how many people are actually interested in this. Before we go and build something crazy, let's make sure this actually resonates with our audience. Otherwise, you're building, and something flops. So make sure you have some sort of waiting list. Assessments. Assessments are huge and a great way to do it. Why? Because people are self-assessing. They're going through the quiz, they're going through the assessment, and they're the ones choosing where they're at. And all you're doing is showcasing, hey, based on your answers, based on what you said in the actual assessment, you say you need help with X. Here's a way I can help solve that for you. So you're not coming out and prescribing things for people. You're not saying, hey, you need this. It's more along the lines of, you said yourself that you struggle with this aspect of your health, of your fitness. Here's a solution for you that we already have. So assessments are a great way to do this. Again, within Supercoach CRM, you can build out different assessments and quizzes and surveys. So you can do this automatically. And it's a great way to have something up there that's not just a PDF download. Another one is some sort of like intro course, right? You can have some sort of sample course. I actually love doing this inside a Coach Catalyst, because it gives them a way to actually be coached by you, right? Do a quick like 7-day um, like lead magnet basically type program. You could do a 7-day flexibility. You can do a 7-day sugar-free me. We have a lot of different lead magnet programs within Coach Catalyst already that you can use. So people, all they do is enter their information. They automatically get added to the app. And the key there is, don't just set it and forget it. You actually have to coach them still. And I think people lose sight of this all the time. They just want to be hands off completely. Coaching isn't hands off, right? People are actually saying, hey, I want to join this. I want to actually get in there, and I want to be coached by you. Coach them. It doesn't have to be, tons of hours a day, but show them what it would actually be like to become a customer, so that when they do join, they understand what to expect and they're not, thrown for a loop at all. The last type of thing is some sort of event, right? Having some sort of workshop every month or every couple of weeks, I think is really huge. Having some sort of webinar, whatever you want to call it, but getting on and teaching and educating people is a great way to build rapport and build a community. So those are four examples of great micro commitments to have automatically all the time running. And the goal really is to have these running every single week so you're not managing them. You're not sitting there trying to create something new all the time. All you're doing is you're going in and you're saying, hey, how is this working? Is this getting the right types of leads? Is this converting well? Are the right types of people joining and then converting into customers, or am I attracting the wrong type of customer right now? And then it's just tweaking. It's trying to get conversion up a little bit more. It's trying to get a few more downloads. How can I get this in front of the right people? Occasionally, you can add a new one in the mix and test it. Okay, I've been having this lead magnet running for 6 months now. Do I have something else? Is there something more timely or seasonal that would work really well right now? But generally, having one evergreen type of lead magnet just going all the time is great. There's been businesses out there who have the same lead magnet for years. Guess what? It still works. So like get out of your head that you need a new one every single couple weeks. You always need to be creating and creating and creating. Find something that works, find something that resonates with your audience and stick with it. We're going after what we call the perfect repeatable week. Something you can do again and again and again without a ton of effort. Because I think where coaches fall flat on the marketing side, and especially like the attraction side, is they feel like they're reinventing the wheel all the time. They're on this hamster wheel and they're always having to do it. And then, oh, I fall, behind in my coaching. I'm not delivering a good service. I got to focus more on that. The key is to focus on the acquisition side first, make sure you dial it in and create systems around it. As soon as you have those systems running, then focus more on the delivery because you've got more clients and the systems keep running. The acquisitions keeps running. You keep getting leads. Never turn off your marketing. I don't care if you're full. I don't care if you have as many clients as you can ever handle. Never turn off your marketing. There's going to become a point where you need new people. You're going to need new clients. You're going to want to grow. And you need to have that pool of people. Because if you have to go and start over again, it's going to be at least 6 months. Like that's just what happens. People think that I can just turn on a Facebook ad really quick and like, boom, like I get new customers. Doesn't happen that way. You generally have to be planting seeds for around 6 months for it to actually reap kind of inside your business what you were sowing way back then. So just a very, very key point of this is to make sure that you are adding a ton of value, you're creating these things, and you have some sort of perfect repeatable week that you can be going through every single week, no matter what. Then every couple months, right? Probably about once a quarter, throw a bigger event, do a bigger thing, bring on an expert, bring on somebody who might have a little bit higher status than you. But when you bring them on in front of your audience, in front of your community, it raises you up to their level. They see you with that association at that higher level of the person. So this is a great way to do it, but you don't do this every single month, every single week. Nail the perfect repeatable week first, then look at adding on top of it. So once a quarter, bring on an expert, bring on an outsider, bring on somebody who you think your community would learn a ton from, where you can kind of borrow some of their audience and your audience together to build an even bigger audience for that type of content. So that's what we see work really, really well for a lot of coaches. The other big mistakes I think people make is not focusing on the time, right? They focus all their attention on the information up here, which are great, right? These are going to be again your lead magnets, your assessments, your courses. All of this is going to be some sort of information. What about the time and the money? How can you provide something that's going to be a short-term program that has a smaller amount of money to it? Again, 7-day programs. Maybe it's a 21-day challenge or 21-day trial program to get people in the door to be coached by you. These don't have to be as high priced as your main offer, but having some sort of cost is good, right? Whenever somebody has skin in the game, they do more. They perform better. They're a better customer. If you do a ton of free programs, especially as we're looking at 14-day, 21-day, you're going to end up getting a lot more people, but the quality is going to be much, much lower. So generally free is going to be great. I like free for the more lead magnets, more digital stuff that isn't a ton of my time. I like free for workshops and community events because I think that works really, really well. And you need a high volume of people to make those really good. But anytime we're looking at like programs or coaching, I always go at least some sort of paid. Now you can kind of determine what value that is. I like to look at it as at least 50% of my normal monthly cost. So it might be a 21 day or a 14 day. So again, you gotta prorate this stuff and look at the length of it versus a normal month. But I like to try to get at least 50% of a normal month. So that way I know people who join that and who kind of put down money and say, yes, I'm in, they're going to be able to become regular clients and regular customers of mine pretty easily. It's not going to be that much of a leap. Again, layers, not leaps. If we went from like zero to like $9, and then I'm going to say, hey, every single month it's 500, it's going to be too big of a leap for people. But if you say, hey, we're going to do, 1 week for $59, and then 1 month is going to be 300, like that's not too big of a jump anymore because the prorated down to like a week is 50, $60. Oh, okay, a whole month is 300. I get it. So that's really what we're looking for within our micro commitments and within our paid micro commitments, not just free information. So any questions on that? I know we got a couple people here in the chat. um, any questions on micro commitments and how to actually set these up in your business? Again, if you are a Supercoach CRM user, we have a ton of these already set up for you. We have funnels with lead magnets, we have quizzes, we have a nutrition calculator in there already where people can enter their information and they can spit out like their nutrition requirements and their macros and everything. So again, these are great ways for people to self-assess and to get the information that they want on their own in order to help you say, hey, looks like you need help with eating more protein. Here's my protein program, and here's like the how I do coaching to help you out with that. So again, the more you can get people to self-assess, the easier it's going to be for the sale. We have different challenges in there too. So if you're looking at running more of like the paid versions, like, hey, I want a little bit bigger micro commitment. I've got a lot of my lead magnets. I've got some like workshops and webinars. Now I want a bigger paid one. Definitely look at some of our challenges within Coach Callus. We have a lot of like 21 day. I wouldn't go much above 21 days for something like this. When you get into more like 6 week challenges, that's a little bigger of a commitment, a little bigger. It's kind of getting into almost like one of your core offers. So I like something about 21 days and less. Again, when we're working with clients, and this kind of gets more into the coaching side of things, but I think is really important in this too. They're coming to us at point A. They want to get to point B, right? They can't get there by themselves. Their daily actions do not allow them to get there. We need to become behavior change experts. We need to work them slowly towards point B with daily changes. But we also need to show them that this is going to be a long-term journey, right? This is not a short-term fix. We're not here to lose 12 pounds in 3 weeks. It's just not going to happen. But we need to get them a short-term win, right? So I think that's something that coaches miss a lot is we understand the long-term sustainability. We need to make sure that people can sustain the results they get. We don't want them yo-yoing up and down constantly, all every single time. But we need to preach long-term, but get them a short-term win. Because if we don't get them a short-term win, they're going to drop off. So many times as we're going from point A to point B, and like this is something we talk a lot about. If I'm right here as a customer, as a new client, generally speaking, this is my path, right? I start here at A and I want to get to B. Generally speaking, what we see all the time is people have slow, little results, little results, little results, little results, and they get to about right here. And you know what happens? If you didn't manage expectations as a coach, if you didn't do a really good job of making sure they understand your program and making sure they understand maybe scale weight isn't the only measurement. Maybe there's waist measurements, maybe there's inches, maybe there's how you feel in your energy. If you didn't do a good job about that, right here, they quit. They quit right at the point just before they're about to really hit massive results. If they just would have stuck with it, if they just would have been consistent a little bit longer, results would have came super quick and they would have hit their goal. That's why coaching is so important. That's why some of these micro commitments and these ways to get them in the door and to educate them are so important. Because if we can get people in as customers, if we can get them in as clients and trust us that we understand what they're doing and manage expectations really, really well, we can push past this point really easily and make sure they actually hit their goal. But if we don't, if we set expectations too high, if we say you're going to lose weight really, really quickly, if we say, scale weight's all that matters and they don't do it right away and we don't get them those short term wins, they're going to quit right here on us and we're never going to be able to get them to their goal. So, this is just some psychology of coaching that we need to understand and really have a good grasp on like how we actually do this with clients. And this is a big piece of not only our micro commitments and how we do that with people, but even moving through like the accessibility of the bow tie and making sure we empower them and equip them with the knowledge they need. We eliminate friction as much as we can and we make it nice and easy, and then we set expectations. Like if we do those three things on a micro commitment, you're going to get so many more customers and the onboarding is going to be much easier for you. So that is our wrap today, all about micro commitments. Again, this is all about the attention and the attraction side of the acquisition of the bow tie effect, right? We're really focusing right now on the sales side, mostly because of the time of the year. September is a huge month for coaches. Sometimes even bigger than back or New Year's. Back to school is a big time for especially a lot of parents to get back in their routine and to get back in shape after a summer of fun, travel, drinks, parties, all that type of stuff. So right now, you need to be planting these seeds. You need to be having all of your micro commitments set up right now so that people are reaching out. So when they start kind of searching for things, they're finding you and they're getting your information first, and then you have them inside your own audience. Once we get into September, October, November, we're going to be talking a lot more about the retention side of things, about the actual coaching. How do you coach people? How do you convert them from your challenges to a long-term program? How do you do more of this stuff to make sure that it is working really, really well for you? So that is a big deal. And we're going to be moving from the acquisition side over to the retention side as we go. But again, just to make sure you understand, we're always doing both. We're always focusing on acquisition. We're always focusing on marketing. We're always focused on retention and coaching, servicing people. It's just one's going to have a little bit more emphasis while we set up the system, and then we push emphasis towards the other one, set up the system so that it keeps going without us. So it never dips because we always are marketing, no matter what, never turn off. And we're always coaching and fulfilling what we promise. We never turn that off either. It's like that's how both of these sides work together to give you the perfect customer journey throughout your business. So I hope this is helpful. Please, if you have any questions later, please, drop a comment in the Facebook group, drop a comment on YouTube. We'll be checking those and following up as best we can. But that is a wrap for this week, talking about micro commitments. Next week, we're going to be talking about gifts. So we're going to work backwards one more, and we're going to talk about gifts and how you can actually get more attention from the right people to help lead to micro commitments and then help lead to offers. We're also going to be talking about content repurposing. How can you get more content out without taking more time? We might even have some more custom GPTs for you to be able to help with some of that, because I know our community loves tools and loves things that are going to make their life easier. One of our core philosophies at Coach Callis is to save the coach more time. If we can help save you time, we did our job. And so that's kind of the goal of all this, is how can we help you save time and how can we help you deepen the relationship between the coach and the client? If we can do those two things, we're going to make your life much easier. So that is all we have for today. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Drop a comment in the group and we'll be sure to answer them. Thanks, guys.